Okay, welcome back everybody for this panel on the potential for AVOD pure players. I have the pleasure in welcoming Manuel Bergero, Sales Director at Big Moving, Gregory Samak, General Manager at Molotov TV, Jacinto Roca, CEO and Founder at Rakuten TV, Olivier Jolet, Senior Vice President of Strategy and Business Development, Streaming, and Head of Mobile at Viacom CBS. And this exciting panel will be moderated by Julian Clover. Julian, the screen is all yours.
Shana, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone from Cambridge in the UK. Let me start off by going through our panelists and giving them perhaps a minute to talk briefly about themselves and what they do. Olivier, you're first up on the screen in front of me, at least. Tell me a little bit more about your work, both at Viacom and of course Pluto TV as well.
Thanks, Julian, and thanks so much for the invitation. So I'm Olivier Jolet, and I'm leading the streaming strategy and the business development for Viacom CBS. For international, so it means all the countries outside of the US. And part of my role, and also because the Viacom strategy is quite interesting, is not only focus on Pluto TV, which is our free streaming product, but also on paid streaming with Paramount Plus. At Viacom CBS, we are really willing to build an ecosystem, combining obviously a free streaming product and a paid streaming product. Today, I think we're going to speak a bit more about Pluto TV, which has been growing incredibly over the last few years, since also the acquisition by Viacom CBS in 2019. And the product is now available in 26 countries and reaching 43 million monthly active users. But we'll talk a bit more later in this panel.
Thanks very much, Olivier. Jacinto, I'll move across to you as well. Tell us a little bit about Rakuten, the company that you founded a few years ago.
So, hello everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation. Rakuten TV, we are headquartered in Barcelona, and we have presence across 42 countries in Europe and also in Japan. The global headquarters of Rakuten are in Tokyo. It's a Japanese company. We have been a TVOD and AVOD player until today, and we have been providing TVOD and AVOD movies from Hollywood and also from European producers and distributors. And today we are announcing that we add into our offering over 90 free linear channels across the 42 countries where we operate in Europe. This is a strong bet on this new free advertising linear business model. And we will reach over 35 million connected TVs across Europe, thanks to the branded button that we have in the remote controls of the main TV manufacturers. And these free linear channels include some relevant brands like CNN, Bloomberg, Vanity Fair, and also our own channels. No? So we are producing a bunch of movie channels with Rakuten branding. And this will be a major step in the transition of the company towards free advertising linear model. No? That is Rakuten TV. I'm very happy today to share experiences with the rest of the group. Thank you.
Thanks, Jacinto. I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more myself. Phenomenal announcement today, just sort of ratcheting up of the number of channels that you have on offer. Manuel, let me turn to you now and tell us a little bit more about your work within Bit Moving.
Hi, thanks, Julian. Thanks very much for inviting me to this panel. I'm very honored. What I'm doing at Bit Moving today, I'm actually in charge of all the sales activities for Europe. And I'm working very closely with a lot of different clients we have. So not only on Europe, but also worldwide. In few words, Bit Moving, it's a software company built for technical professionals in the OTT video market. Our software solutions are designed to optimize customer operations and reduce time to market, predominantly, which the result of the best viewer experience possible. For this, we have different solutions. We are actually providing video encoding in the cloud, player, multi-cross-platform. I think we are going to talk about that today, and analytics platform as well. This all is based on API, it's scalable, it's also fast content turnaround, which is one of the main key values for our business. About BitMovin, so we have, as I said, a lot of different clients worldwide. We work with companies such as Hulu Japan, for example, as well as the BBC, ORF in Austria, a lot of public broadcasters, a lot of private broadcasters, a lot of OTT providers. We are really in that digital change now from the TV, linear TVs to OTT.
Okay, thank you very much, Manuel. So finally to Gregory from Molotov, which launched a couple of years back in the French market. So Gregory, tell us a little bit more about Molotov and your work with the company.
Hello again, thanks Julian for the invitation. Well, yeah, Molotov was born in 2016. It was like a pioneer about the OTT market in the French landscape, and was actually here in the market to try to renew the experience of television within the French TV landscapes, which was a massive success. And honestly, the idea was simply to bring on demand and to bring a new experience on OTT with all the channels that are available in the free-to-air landscape on this platform. And progressively, we added extras, we added also pay TV channels, bundles, and now we became like an aggregator in the French market. Accordingly, I mean, we look like a bit like a set-top box in the cloud, meaning that we are now offering 200 channels. Some are free TV, some are pay TVs. And recently, 6 months ago, we launched a new service called Mango, which is a pure OTT AVOD offer with very interesting start and increasing revenue as we're speaking. Well, another fact which is interesting is that Molotov is not only a French player now, it's starting to become more international, and we announced 2 months ago that we are launching the service in Africa. We launched in 12 countries the service, pay TV or free TV, Molotov version of Molotov in Africa. We are also planning to open the service in other countries in the EMEA zone. So that's why it's a very interesting moment in our environment.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Greg. We're looking forward to exploring some more about Molotov. We've got 3 content players and 1 tech company which is helping them get their businesses going and keeping them going. We're talking predominantly about the advertising-based model, although I notice, I think that all of you, to a greater or lesser extent, have a pay model as well. But concentrating on the advertising side of things, why in this sort of day where we're told to subscribe to Netflix, to Amazon, all the others? What's special about the AVOD model? Maybe Olivier, start with you on this one, because I know obviously you've got Paramount Plus as well within the family.
Yeah, exactly. So I think what is quite important is that if you have a look at the history of Pluto, the company has been founded almost like 8 years ago in 2013, at a time where the industry was seeing like the death of ad-supported model, the end of linear model as well, and forcing more or less subscription-based model to be the only way to go, and probably being the replacement of traditional TV. If you go back to today, you have like an interesting phenomenon is that obviously SVOD has become incredibly successful, but it's not the only game in town. I think the ad-supported model have a key role to play in the mix. As you had like on the traditional TV landscape, you always had free TV and pay TV, and you start seeing exactly the same in the streaming landscape, where you have some paid streaming, usually the most premium content is under the paywall, And then you have the free streaming platform such as Pluto TV, which is a fast service, and there is also within the AVOD platform different definition. Fast is really more this linear channels that are providing a TV-like experience but ad supported. So we really believe that there is a demand for that. The users are willing to watch ads if you are providing a great experience, whether from, both from a user experience point of view, but also from a content point of view. And I think that's really what is key. We're probably going to talk about that. Is obviously content is king, and probably a few years ago, the content which was available on that supported model was not that premium than what we see now. And there's a huge shift now due to the change in the TV landscape and the streaming landscape, which bring a lot of really top premium content to the free streaming players.
Do you see channels like which you find within the Pluto environment? Do you see those almost linear 2.0, taking, one very strong, almost scheduled aspect of linear television and adding to that the ability to add in often targeted advertising, which I know we're going to be talking about in the later session?
Yeah, I think being digital brings a lot of advantage in terms of how you program the channels and how you monetize the channels. We're going to talk about that, but obviously the monetization of traditional TV channels is a one-to-many. So the same users will see the same ads, and that is the model that has been on the in place for decades. While when you run a linear digital channels, you can have like different ads for different users in the ad pods or the ad breaks. So it changed the ad experience, but also the way you program channels is massively driven by data. And that is not relying on ratings and of studies like that you have like on 24 hours later, but really based on data. So you have really a new way of creating channels, and that's really what we've been implementing. We're able, thanks to these two components, to target some niche which have been really forgotten or in the traditional TV landscape.
Do you see it as a distinctive audience watching Pluto to who might watch Paramount Plus, or do you think there's quite a bit of overlap perhaps between the two?
No, I think that there is clearly overlap, and it will depend also on the countries. Like if you see, even look in the US, obviously the cord cutter movement is way bigger than maybe in what we see in Europe. But clearly, I think as Viacom CBS, we want to build an ecosystem where obviously we have two really incredibly strong products, one completely free and one other one which is paid. And the two of them are completely complementary. We are willing to, as mentioned, build this funnel. We launched some Paramount Plus channels recently on Pluto TV with the best of the movies available on Paramount. And we also have in Paramount Plus in the US some of the Pluto channels as well. So you see that there is some communication between the two products, and that's the reason why I'm talking about an ecosystem.
I'd like to come to Gregory at this point because I'm wondering, is there kind of a bit of an overlap, if you like, between what Olivier was telling us about at Viacom CBS and Pluto to what you're doing between Molotov itself and the AVOD product Mango, or is there again that kind of sort of overlap between the two? Where
that's a very interesting point. Actually, we try to solve this issue like in having one app for everything, which is very challenging in that era where everybody believes that he will win the final battle. So we try to aggregate more and more. That's why we don't feel, for instance, Molotov in the French market, in the African market, in the EMEA market, like a competitor of Pluto or Rakuten at all. We are more like a platform where everybody can and everybody should be present to value their program and to monetize them. But every day, like you're saying, we are seeing these overlap issues, even when we are selling bundles. Like for instance, we have discussion. We carry, for instance, OCS, which is the, which has the HBO contract, And we found the same programs in some deals that we are offered on the free-to-air side of our business. So sometimes it's very challenging. Sometimes linear channel would offer a movie that is proposed to Mongo as well. That's why we now are more and more on the editorial aspect of the business, trying to put to the market something coherent for the audience. Okay, I have this movie in the free-to-air. I don't have it in the PTV landscape, or I have it in the free TV landscape. Everything is moving, and I think to see the future today is very complicated because we are in the midst of the explosion that non-linear business is creating. We try to handle this on the platform, creating relevant offers, creating an offer on the free TV landscape, which could be readable and legible for everyone. But it's always challenging, honestly, because all the content providers are always hesitating with their own strategy. You would find someone able to sell a movie on the pay TV channel, but also to offer it on the Mongo system or on Pluto. And we might sometimes also with Pluto, for instance, have the same programs available. So let's see. The virtue of this moment is very interesting. Is that everybody's trying to find a way, and we need to go to hurry and to run, and maybe in maybe one year, 2 years time, to focus and say, let's see what's happening. Actually, what people choose. Do they choose one app? Do they choose multiple apps? Do they choose technical aggregators or software aggregators? It's not solved. And I think deeply, we think here that the final solution won't be the same in the whole, everywhere on the planet. We suspect that the success of fast channels and AVOD two-player platforms in the US is understandable because of the structure of the US market. It won't be necessarily the same in France or the same in Germany due to history of these markets. For instance, the power of the French free TV channels is so huge in France. These channels are available in terrestrial like in the US, but this is a culture as well. So it will be interesting in 1 year, 2 years time after we work a lot all around the table to see what is taking shape in all different countries. And I bet this would be a different solution according to the different countries we are.
So some of, I'm just thinking out the top of my head, the sort of pay TV resistance that we've seen in Germany over the years to a greater or lesser extent. We might, it might be logical to assume, although never assume anything, that an AVOD service might be quite popular in Germany because used to the concept of free channels and generally, well not exclusively, sometimes a resistance to pay, even if that means no advertising.
Exactly. And this is where culture meets TV. I mean, so this is the perfect moment to see what's it's taking shape or getting success or failure in one country and in another one would be different.
Thanks very much, Gregor. Jacinta, I'm interested very much in your announcement from earlier on today, which you outlined to us briefly. You've got a mixture of, as you said, of your own channels and some very familiar brands. Do you then sell advertising within those third-party channels, or is the advertising strictly for those Rakuten branded channels?
No. The advertisers can advertise in any of the channels that we carry, no? And like Gregory was saying, in our case, we don't see Pluto or Molotov either as a competitor. We carry our own channels, but also third-party channels, no? And we become like a platform. Talking about the business model and the type of customer that will be using fast services versus SVOD, we believe that the same customer has different kind of use cases throughout the day. And there are some periods during the day where they have a more laid-back attitude towards TV watching. And that is where linear channels play a role. And the type of content that these customers consume on linear channels probably is going to be different than the content that they consume on SVOD services. And there is an opportunity for news, lifestyle content, e-gaming. So there is a bunch of different type of content that we believe will have a very important role to play in these free linear channels. Again, addressing this laid back customer behavior towards TV. And the same customer, some of the time, will have a more active attitude towards TV. And that is where SVOD services and more premium movies and TV shows, that's maybe the type of consumption that they do on SVOD. No? And I think this gives a fantastic opportunity to advertisers, because it's pretty obvious that beyond the targeting that digital channels, like Olivier was saying, the targeted advertising that the technology allows, also it becomes very relevant to have games advertising on a games channel, no? Or destination advertising on a travel channel, no? And then
I don't feel, in a way though, I don't feel that differs too much from, you know, if I was to wander downstairs here, turn on my television set, I could watch a travel channel, I would get travel adverts, and the same if I was looking, if there's a gaming channel available, I would get gaming adverts. So what is it that you're able to offer which can't be offered by some of the linear channels which are already available, or is it simply I don't know, you offering a cable TV alternative for cord cutters?
Well, no, there is a big amount of niches that you can target that probably you cannot find on traditional cable players, because these niches, probably they are small in a given country, but they become relevant when you put together 42 countries like us. No? And I could give you the example of some of the channels that we are having big surprises during the beta period, that they are very niche, but they are very engaged audience, no? And in 43 countries becomes very, very relevant. And then the other thing is that, as you can imagine, what digital channels allow is interactivity. Maybe not directly on TV, because the user experience is not that good, but then the combination of mobile with TV, no? And then you can make traditional TV advertising in a CPA type of advertising, no? Where basically advertisers, they can see a direct return of the brands, can see a direct return from the ads, no? So I think that there is a beautiful world ahead of us to discover, and we are going to be adventurers trying to find the holy grail.
Now, one of the things, of course, about the AVOD channels is their ability to be seen across a number of platforms. So the traditional TV set, I'm pleased to report, I think, I'm not sure if I can get Molotov on my TV set. I think I can get an app, although whether it would let me get the programs if I was to download it, I'm not sure. But certainly the ubiquity, the ability of the channels to be on TV sets, multi-screen devices, tablets, and mobiles. And I guess, Manuel, this for your company, for Bitmoven, is this ability not only to serve the adverts across multiple platforms, but to give the advertisers what they want. In other words, the metrics to find out who's viewing their ads and where.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Bitmoven is providing this capability for our clients to deploy it on many different devices. So it's very crucial. I mean, we made this kind of survey. We call that the developer report. So we asked 800 developers worldwide what was the most important things that they are looking after, and they were really saying the viewer experience and being able to broadcast all their content into a lot of different devices, including set-top boxes. Smart TVs could be very challenging as well. And when you add on top of that the ads, it starts to be a little bit complicated. Actually, matter of fact, many of our clients move from open source player to commercial players such as Beamwin Player because of the ads integration, as well as DRM, for example, but ads is very, very crucial. And actually part of it, so the other product that we are also developing is the analytics piece. Again, most of our clients think that ads, it's a source of annoyance. It's very complex. So they need to understand, and it's actually quite out of their control, really, because they receive ads from a lot of different DSP, different providers. They don't really know what the quality will be, except if it's their own ads, could happen as well. So the analytics tool that we are providing will help our clients to identify what I will call the bad ads, just in terms of quality, resolution, also the size, the bandwidth could be very important as well, and make sure that they understand which are probably the bad campaign, the bad program, even the bad provider, challenge them. That's something they can do, or they can even blacklist them. I think they really take very carefully this step of making sure that the viewer experience, because they are spending a lot of money on content, they would like to have a really good experience, as well as the linear TV. I
guess is the problem. You could have a show, a high-end drama, which is produced in HD, maybe even UHD, and the next moment you're getting a standard definition advert, and that's not necessarily going to please our content friends.
Absolutely. I mean, there is a lack of standardization. I think we are going to a good way, but there is some work to be done. And again, some of them are doing good, and some of them are not that good. And you need to identify them. So the analytics tool really helps you to slice and dice the data to find out if even some of the ads can completely break a player, and you have a terrible experience after all. So that's very challenging for our clients indeed.
Yeah, and I guess some of this might simply come down to business rules, but presumably a channel or an advertiser can between them choose to say show one ad to somebody watching on a regular TV and another ad to somebody viewing on a mobile.
Yes, so there is a component very important here. We can completely tailor actually the ad experience for the user. So there is a lot of different scenarios, either based on the device, either based on the rules of, maybe a user can skip an ad and then he will receive, a bunch of other different ads. So again, thanks for API, we have an ads module that help our clients to define those scenarios to make sure that they have a full control of the quality and also the experience of the user.
In terms of you've mentioned how you can spot those bad adverts. What sort of other metrics are you able to give advertisers? How deep can you go in terms of the information that you can provide? Providing the various data protection rules don't get in the way.
So we do have metrics based on the quality. So things such as load time, quality, resolution, as well as the buffer, if the ads actually crash. And then there is a bunch of metadata that we're also collecting. So we have information about the campaign, the advertiser, also the spot. So there is different type of spot based on the campaign. So we have a bunch of information based on the metadata as well. Richer the metadata is, better we have information and quality, and then we can keep filtering the information and really get into the root cause of any kind of ads. So it's quite granular, to be honest, and it's getting better, which is a good thing.
Okay, well, let's go to Olivier to maybe explore the advertising side of things a little bit more. How much are you segmenting the advertising? Is it sort of based on groups of channels, or how is that organized?
I think it really depends on the market and on also on the way you sell. I mean, there is a difference when you have your own ad sales team, which is, for example, the case in France for Pluto, which is not the case in the other markets in Europe, where we are relying on some big direct sales house or programmatic partners. So each partner got usually their own way of building what we call rich bundle. It could be based on CTV inventory, which is like a very big one, could be like split, as mentioned, per device, per genre. There's a lot of different options for, and it's usually more driven by the demand, how the existing partner are selling their inventory. I think there is one thing which is important. I think you touch base on something which is very important, and Manuel as well, is what do you need to do to make ads acceptable? And actually what is very important, and the most important KPI for advertiser is the ad completion. This is what they want to see. I mean, at Pluto, we have a 96% ad completion rate, which is outstanding. It means that almost everyone is watching the ads. And we took like a couple of really hard decisions as well when we launched Pluto. For example, we don't have any pre-roll. And pre-roll is the standard, I mean, in the video market is still like the biggest format. And we believe that pre-rolls could be like disturbing the watching experience, because the first thing you do before watching a content is having an ad. And then the acceptance is lower than if you are in the middle of the content, you're already in the middle of your movie, and you have it's exactly like TV, you're gonna have an ad break, which is shorter than TV. I think the ad pace that we have on Pluto is way lower than what you have on TV. It is more relevant due to the targeting opportunities, and all of that accumulated makes a good watching experience. And the watching experience make obviously the advertiser happy, because the completion rate is happy, it is a brand safe environment, and then you have a high impact for your brands on towards your audience. So I think it is a combination. It is not easy to say, okay, that's the way advertisers want to book. There's a lot of factors that we need to take into the mix to be successful and meet the needs of the advertising market.
That's interesting. I was watching some TV on AVOD service the other day, and I was watching 2 episodes of an old US series, and I suddenly realized the further I was getting into my watching, the fewer ads I was actually seeing. They've clearly been top loaded all to the front and the start of my viewing.
Yeah, I mean, the number of ads is, I mean, we've been doing a lot of A/B tests to really find the perfect mix on how many of ads do you want or a user is accepting. So you see pretty, I mean, it's the beauty of digital business. You can see like how long your ad breaks can be to maximize the ad completion and all this kind of things. So it is really data driven, and also the ad strategy is very data driven at Pluto.
Yeah. Jacinto, how are you organizing things at Rakuten? Is it similar to what Olivier was describing there?
Yeah, as you can imagine, we are all doing something similar. We are working a lot also with consent management platform, so to make sure that customers give us consent to track their behavior, and we are compliant with all the GDPR, which is something very relevant to operate in Europe. And then we have our own DMP, and that data management platform is the basis for the creation of segments, and then we work with different ad servers so we can create targeted campaigns, and we combine direct sales with our own sales force, which is another group company called Rakuten Advertising. And we have a very strong direct sales force across the main European countries, and then partnering with media agencies and resellers so they can provide also great reach. We are seeing in this beta period that we have had of the free linear channels very good CPMs, above 17 euros. So meaning that we see strong interest on premium advertisers, traditional TV brands moving into this new free linear channels space, and that is very good news. Also, like Olivier was mentioning, experimenting on the amount of ads that customers can afford. So the NPS and the impacts of ads on NPS is something very relevant for us. And for us, having also e-commerce in our group, we see a strong untapped potential converting advertising also in e-commerce transactions, no? And that's something that we are definitely exploring how to make it happen, and how to make it happen on a smart way, no? In China, e-commerce is growing a lot, and we see a very good opportunity on this e-commerce advertising on smart TVs. So again, lots of things to discover in the following years.
Gregory, is Molotov selling advertising directly, or do you use a third party to sell on behalf of?
Well, we like my colleagues, we are inside a mix of solutions. We plugged into the platform, the Mango platform, and the Molotov platform in general, multiple SSPs, working with Freewheel, with Spotix, with all the players, like I think my colleagues are doing too. And we also have now, like Rakuten, an internal sales force led by Béatrice Leroux-Barou, which is the former head of the ad agency of TF1, the French TV channel leader in the industry. Meaning we are combining actually the two solutions of programmatic and internal sales force as well, because we see the market needs to be educated. This is a strong learning, a strong takeaway of the past months is we need to educate and popularize the CTV landscape. And I think an alliance of groups like us, I mean, Rakuten and Viacom as well in the free TV new generation of platforms could be interesting.
We need an opportunity to band together.
Yeah, we could, for instance, build a bundle together, or build something together, because actually we need to educate the market and the buyers mostly to the fact that the traffic is, like Olivier said, is bringing many things new on the market, like the smart advertising, the less pressure on the viewers, more relevant content, more relevant breaks, etc., etc. So my point is not to is actually to make it happen on the market into the buyer's mind, and I think that maybe initiatives together as newcomers on the market could be one way to make it.
And what kind of KPIs are you looking for in terms of doing the tracking internally? What are the numbers you keep an eye on, both in terms of ad sales and maybe going back to what was being said earlier about how far a viewer gets through a show before they disappear?
I have two focuses. I mean, I would say, what is the market share of our own content or all AVOD content among the all channels we are broadcasting? Meaning, it's like we created a new channel within the TV traditional landscape, and actually I can say that Mango and all the AVOD players who are on Molotov, because it's not only Mango, you also have MK2, you have Kabylion, US platform, and maybe others soon, are making approximately between 5 and 10% of share of audience within the market, which is considerable. And that's a very interesting takeaway. The other KPI I would look at every day is the number of impressions, and also the completion rate, like Olivier said, because this is a very, very important concern. And I think on that level, there's the alliance I would say, or the collaboration we could have together, is try to educate the buyers on the SSP side, to to target and try the relevancy of this new form of advertising.
Well, from your side, another sort of completely different set of numbers almost, but I always feel that technology companies have a sort of like a forward gaze on what's happening in terms of the development of the market. Is it steady growth, or is it faster than that as more players like Molotov, Rakuten, and Viacom's Pluto come into the market? No, is Manuel still with us?
Sorry,
Yes,
I was on mute.
Oh, you frozen for a moment, but you were
No. Thanks a lot. Well, we see a growth. I mean, this AVOD model is growing a lot. So we see that pretty much everywhere now. We've seen, for example, we follow up a lot with La Liga in Spain, where they started launching about a year ago a platform, OTT platform, very successful. Again, the content is clearly different to either Molotov, Rakuten, or Viacom, but they really starting the advertisement very, very early days. So they see an opportunity to start this advertisement model. And thanks again for Bitmovin being deployed this advertisement very quickly on all those devices. So that's something they always, they always see as an option. Again, there is a pure SVOD player, and I don't see them moving to AVOD very soon. But you see the AVOD for a lot of different sports, most likely those days, that really deployed massively. So there is new player constantly coming into the market.
What if it's like maybe like the start of digital, where you see like just a different type of channel which is appearing and taking advantage of your technology?
Absolutely, yes. We've seen that with a lot of clients bringing new programs, new technology, new platform, growing in different countries as well. We have a bunch of old clients, let's say, or of moving to that model as well.
Oh, yeah, that's always the interesting thing, isn't it? As people shift along. Thank you, Manuel. We've got a couple of moments left. I have a question which has come in. Thank you very much for that. And sort of double one, really, half for Olivier and the other half for Gregory. Do you have any firm plans to launch Paramount Plus in the European markets outside of the Nordic launch? So that's part one. I guess, Olivier, Paramount Plus was sort of already there in the Nordic markets, but you just made it even better than it was already.
That is correct. So we relaunched Paramount Plus. We launched Paramount Plus 3 years ago. I would call that maybe as a light version, and now it's really a fantastic product, including all the showtimes and the really the best Paramount movies really coming also very early after theatrical release. I think there is our ambition as Viacom CBS is to become a global player in streaming, both in free streaming and paid streaming. So I won't communicate any countries or any dates regarding the rollout of Paramount Plus. But as mentioned, our ambition is to build this ecosystem. We've been rolling out pretty aggressively Pluto across the world in Brazil, Spain, France in the last 6 months. Italy is down the road when it comes to Pluto. And obviously we will make some more announcement around the launch of Paramount Plus for the future market.
Okay, so a few more European launches then for Paramount Plus on the way, and in a little while perhaps. Oh, well, I had to go anyway, if nothing else. Gregory, a sort of similar question to you.
Yeah.
I think up to a certain...
The thing is, actually, we already mentioned the fact that we are about to launch in the coming months the service in Switzerland, in Belgium, Luxembourg, and also considering very strongly closely the Italian market. There could be a room here for a player like us. Other countries that I cannot mention that, but our focus is to go as maximum we can on the EMEA zone, which is quite vast. Besides what we are doing in the African market, we would certainly deploy and announce new things on the Maghreb area, and more to come.
So I'm guessing that the sort of service in Belgium, Switzerland, Luxembourg, pretty much like the French service, maybe a few variations to the usual rights problems.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's great. Gregory, thank you very much. Thank you very much as well to all of our panelists in this particular session. I think our time is up, and I'll see you a little later on this afternoon. Thank you all for taking part.
Thank you, Julian.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.